Hello, everyone. This is Judge Jennifer Brunner, and we're here today with another episode of our series, Achieving Justice. I'm running for the Ohio Supreme Court. I currently sit on the 10th District Court of Appeals, and I'm so pleased today to introduce you to Judge Myron Duhart, who's on the Common Pleas Court in Lucas County, which is where Toledo is in the northwest part of the state of Ohio. Hi, Judge Duhart. How are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon.
And so Judge Duhart is currently running for the 6th District Court of Appeals. There's 12 courts of appeals of the state. I'm on the 10th. He is running for the 6th, and it's an open seat to replace Judge Arlene Singer, who is retiring. So Judge Duhart, could you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run for the Court of Appeals?
Well, sure. As you said, I have been on the bench now for 10 years in the Lucas County Common Pleas Court in the General Division. I've handled a number of cases to include the most serious criminal cases as well as multi-million-dollar civil cases. And so it's been a pleasure that entire time. I'm running for the 6th District Court of Appeals. As you said, it's a 8-county district, of which Lucas County is the largest of those counties. But the reason I'm running is that, I think it's a natural progression for me. I think the academic exercise of researching the case, researching the law, making sure that you get the case right, sprinkled with my experience as a trial judge and as a trial lawyer, is a perfect blend and a natural progression for me. And so I look forward to the opportunity to make sure and get on the court and make sure that, my time, my efforts, and my talents are being used to the best of my ability.
That's great. I've learned on the 10th District Court of Appeals because, like you, I served for about 5 years as a Common Pleas Court General Division judge in Franklin County, that trial court experience really does help inform your judgment. I know what it feels like when you get a reversal and you think, but they didn't think about this and they didn't hear what this person said. How many judges are on that court right now in the 6th District?
Yes, there are 5 judges that are on the court right now, and Judge Arlene Singer has been there for quite some time, and it's bittersweet in some respects. I am very close to her, and she served as a mentor to me for very long time, for many years, and and so it's hard to see her go. But those are big shoes to fill, and hopefully I have put in the time, the work, and the effort that I could have some chance of filling the shoes that she has already set out.
That's just great. Well, thinking of mentorship, I really want people to know about your background because I just found it so fascinating about where you were raised, what happened when you were 10, the role that your grandmother played in your life. Can you give people a sense of that? Because it's such an inspiring story.
Well, sure. I was raised in the central city in Toledo. My mother was a teacher in Toledo Public Schools for a very long time. And so she, for the most of her life, was afflicted with sickle cell anemia. And she unfortunately died when I was 10 years old. I was very young at the time. And so I was taken in by my grandmother, and she also was a single person. And she raised me. And so she didn't have any post-secondary education, but education was a big deal in our home. And she wanted to make sure that she did everything she could to put food on the table and provide for me and to assist me in furthering my education. So she sold Avon. And, there were times in which, I'd walk in, I'd come in from school, and our entire dining room would be full of her orders. And so to think back now And in that time, to have such an entrepreneurial spirit and a drive to do better, uh, to uplift, I guess, our circumstances is really heartening to me. And so she helped me. I went to St. Francis de Sales High School, and so she helped pay for that. And I went on to college. And before I went to college, I really didn't have a way to pay for college, so I joined the Army, and I joined as a private, no rank. It's called an E nothing is what it's called. And so they had a program called Green to Gold. The idea being that you go from green camouflage to a gold bar, which is what you get when you become a second lieutenant in the United States Army. So I took advantage of that opportunity. I wanted to be close to that grandmother that, I told you about. And so I was looking for a college in Ohio that was near a military base in Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio, which is right next to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, largest military installation in Ohio. So that's how I matriculated to Wright State. Did 4 years there. While I was there, I interned for State Representative Casey Jones. And so
I remember him.
you
Yeah.
remember Casey Jones. And so, he was a titan in our community. As fate would have it, his local office was directly across the street from my childhood church. And so as a kid watching from afar, I'd see the impact that he would have in the community and all the help and the lives he touched. And so that was an inspiration to me. And so I reached out to him while I was in college. I began interning for him. He encouraged me to pursue a career in law, and I did that. I matriculated to University of Toledo College of Law. And once I graduated from the College of Law, I was commissioned as a JAG officer in the U.S. Army. So, my pre-lawyer days, that's, generally what it is.
It all worked together. But people probably don't even realize that you not only have an undergraduate degree, a law degree, but you have what's called an LLM, which is like a master's of law, plus time you did at the Kennedy School, right?
That's correct. And so in 2014, I spent some time at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. And this was essentially post-secondary executive education for those who were in local state government in positions of leadership. And so, I spent an entire summer there in 2014. And then in 2016, I guess it would be, I applied to the Duke School of Law LLM program in judicial studies. And so again, this being my ongoing effort to become a better judge, I thought the idea of attending such a prestigious program would assist me in not only jurisprudence, but theory, legal theory, all the many subjects that we covered over the course of 3 years. And so in 2018, I received that LLM, and I'm grateful for a number of reasons. I had judges from all over the country. I often say my classmates, I was the low man on the totem pole. There were federal judges, state Supreme Court judges, as well as we had international judges. I had a classmate from Taiwan, Sierra Leone, Denmark. I had a colleague from Brussels. And so those experiences, again, are invaluable and were invaluable to me in broadening my perspective of not only our Western view of our legal system, but also legal systems in Europe and other countries. And so it was a wonderful experience to me. And certainly I think, it is a value add and certainly something that I can take and bring to the Court of Appeals.
Oh, absolutely. And on top of that, I think you're also seeing sort of not only the international legal view, but I think it helps you maybe understand international business as well, which leads me to ask you to explain to viewers the commercial docket that you also manage in addition to your criminal and your other civil docket.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm especially proud of, I am one of 6 judges in the state of Ohio that the Ohio Supreme Court has certified to handle a commercial docket. And what is that? A commercial docket is designed to expedite litigation amongst business litigants. And so the idea being that collectively the citizens of Ohio would benefit from the fact that there is a commercial docket or a court designed to expedite litigation, I guess, with business litigants, with the idea that that would entice businesses who are already here to stay, or businesses who are thinking about locating in Ohio to come to Ohio, with the thought that we have taken the steps to create such a docket to expedite cases, arguably to reduce the cost of litigation. There's a number of other benefits of which we believe and I think is a value add. Here in Lucas County, it's been well received. The other commercial docket is in Cleveland. And so there are 4 judges there. There are 2 judges here in Toledo. And so it has been fairly successful here, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback.
Oh, that's great. And I'm sure for business litigants, it's kind of refreshing that they don't have to explain things from the very beginning, that there's already a technical expertise that's developed because you've been managing that docket along with another judge on your court.
Yes, and frankly, the creation of the commercial docket requires that the commercial docket judges seek and complete additional training in areas that often come up in business litigation, to include, financial statements, contracts, all the things that are specifically nuanced and frequently appear in these types of cases. And so, again, those things I think are very important in the overall success of the commercial docket, and I'm especially proud of that.
That's just great. And I think about, if people envision you, a lot of times when they're thinking about who they vote for, they try to put you in the place in their mind of where you would be. So, a court of appeals is not hearing day-to-day dockets. It's reviewing what other judges do, and it's a lot more academic and research oriented. So it seems like this is just at the right point in time on the trajectory of your career.
Yes, and I would agree with that, Jennifer. Again, with my education background that we've talked about, that I've actively sought to hone those skills necessary in the Court of Appeals. Again, that academic exercise that you refer to, in addition to, that experience that you get on the trial bench. You got to understand, I think it's important that, a judge that's on the Court of Appeals, they have a fair understanding that what the underside of the story is, right? And so you get the briefs, you research the law, but oftentimes if you haven't been in a courtroom, you haven't experienced many of the same situations that come up, you don't get a real sense or a feel of what may really be going on. And without that, that doesn't really factor into your decision-making process. So I just, there are some wonderful, wonderful judges on the Court of Appeals that didn't come from a trial bench. And so I don't mean to suggest that that's not a possibility and in high frequency, but I just, you're right. The combination of the trial bench, you know, my education, as well as my experiences with the commercial docket, I really think brings a broad perspective to my ability to work through the cases that come before the Court of Appeals.
Sure. And in the end, judges are public servants who happen to be judges. And we want the public to have the best quality and best experience level of people to step into those positions, because people hand that power off to us, and that's how it works in a democracy.
And people trust us. I mean, and I take that seriously, and I take what we do. It's a craft, and I take the craft seriously. And when people put their trust in you, and they have those expectations, I think it's incumbent upon us in the judiciary to make sure that we're doing our level best to be the best judge that we can be with all the resources, tools, and abilities we have.
Well, I could talk to you for another half hour, another 2 hours, actually, because your background's so interesting. But I think we're going to probably need to close for today. But Judge Myron Duhart, do you want to finish out with anything that you want people to know that they might not be able to get from researching your background?
Well, sure. What I would say, and I think you know this, Jennifer, is that it is extremely important that you have good judges on the bench. And I think it is extremely important that you have a judge that has a broad variety of experiences, everything from the way in which you were brought up, understanding what a hard day of work is all about, what it is to make ends meet, coupled with my commitment to the community. I've served this country, as you know. My children are serving this country presently. I've been actively involved in the community in a number of boards, to include Mercy Health System. I sit on the board now, as well as the Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation, Northwest Ohio, and a number of other community boards. But I do that as a tangible commitment to my feeling that you're required to give back to the community. Couple that with my trial experience as a lawyer, as a judge, and I believe the respect and reputation that I've been so fortunate to work very hard to build. I think and hope that the voters across the 6th District would agree, and I hope that I can take the bench there in the 6th District. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for this wonderful platform that you have here. I think all of us are trying to get our message out in this very challenging time, so people that kind of understand, get a feel for who you are, right? So we don't have those opportunities to, as we all would like, to personally interact with people. And so, I think it's a very good idea and a perfect platform that you have here to try and make some connection with the voters and for them to get a sense of who you are. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for sharing that platform with me, and I wish you the very best in the election.
Thank you.
Thank you.